How would you describe Julie Walters? I think extremely funny, extremely dedicated, and extremely mischievous.
The real Julie Walters is a remarkably funny person.
Julie's quite small, with short hair, and she likes to laugh, and she always learns the words.
Well, she's very funny. Humour is a big thing. She's also strikes me as quite humble.
She's such a consummately gifted actress in any form, you know.
The range of her work is so extraordinary.
I am genuinely proud of having worked with one of the best actors in Britain. Yeah, I mean, really, she's so well thought of, and she's great. So, how lucky am I?
Please welcome to the stage one of the country's leading actresses, the fabulous, the brilliant, the one and only Julie Walters.
Oh, that's nice. Lovely chair.
Oh, these are very comfy, aren't they?
Sorry.
Very comfy. Yes.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
Mustn't fall asleep. No, sorry, I was just thinking it's so comfortable. Yeah. So, you received your BAFTA fellowship earlier this year. Did that mean something special to you?
No.
No.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, God, of course it. I mean, because it was about the whole 40 years. Yeah. Oh, and that was long, wasn't it? No, it was huge for me, and it really. I know it's a cliche, but it was a thrill and an honour. I mean, it was a great night. It was lovely. I know, absolutely. It's wonderful. Yeah. What can I say?
You also have received 7 other BAFTAs. What is it about BAFTA that's so special, do you think?
Well, it's your colleagues and your peers and the people that you work with. And it's posh, you know.
It's terribly posh, isn't it?
Very, very posh. So, no, it means it's the best of all of them, as far as I'm concerned. So to get that for something that you've done is, everybody wants one. Yeah. So I feel really lucky.
There's another one there, actually.
I know, it's going in my bag.
Now, the theatre is where it all began for you. You were in that famous photo outside the Everyman Theatre in Liverpool. You were in Bill Nye and Matthew Kelly, Pete Postlethwaite. What did the theatre mean to you at that time? It was a very sort of committed company you were in, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. Well, theatre, first of all, that's where I wanted to be. I never thought about television or film at that time. Theatre, I wanted to be on a stage. I wanted to be acting with an audience, you know. And the Everyman, where I was at college in Manchester, and the Everyman Theatre in Liverpool was where that, plus the Nottingham Playhouse and Glasgow Citizens, was where everybody wanted to work at that time. They had amazing directors, and they did groundbreaking. You felt you were on the edge of a revolution with it. It felt groundbreaking, and it was real. The Everyman was real community, and everything came down to nearly everything we did came down to London at that time. It was a fantastic place.
And many of those plays were then transferred to the television. Was it hard to make that transition?
The first big transition for me was educating Rita.
Right.
That was because I'd done that on stage, Willie Russell's play, and and then Lewis Gilbert came along and said, "Do you want to be in a film, darling?" And I, you know, it was just extraordinary. I was cast in it, and that was a bit of a shock. Yeah.
And of course, the Oscar nomination, Hollywood came knocking on your door like eager double glazing salesman. But
I don't know about that.
But you decided to stay here and work here. Why was that?
Well, because they were interested in me doing something over there, but everything they sent me was, they didn't know what to do with me, basically. It was, they tried to write working class parts, and it was cool lava-duck sort of stuff, you know, that wasn't...
Dick Van Dyke.
Kind of, yes, he'd have done them brilliantly. But I just felt all the best writing and all the best work was here.
Yes, particularly with a certain writer called Victoria Wood.
Especially with a certain V. Wood, yes.
How did you and Victoria first meet and start working together?
Well, we first worked together at the Bush in 1978 in a show called In at the Death. And we just got on really well, and she said she would write something for me. She did say that she'd met me before, and I couldn't remember that, but she had, in fact, auditioned at Manchester Polytechnic School of Theatre when I was there. I was a first-year student. And she said, I don't remember that. She said, yes, you were showing the auditionees in. And then I remembered this little girl vomiting into a bucket. And yeah, so that's where we really first met.
But it was remarkable. At that time, it was the first ever female-led show. Why did it work so well, the combination between the two of you, do you think?
Because she wrote brilliant things. And she's just a really, really clever, brilliant woman. And I mean, you know, you'd ask her to write a sketch and she could write it in 3 minutes and it would be genius stuff. You know, so she wrote great stuff and she wrote it for me. You know, she was very, very generous. That's why it worked, I feel. And I think it was, yes, that there weren't many women. Well, there weren't.
There were none.
At that time, with Wooden Waters, we were the first, on telly anyway, to be there. So I think that put us in the spotlight.
Did you used to develop characters together then?
No, people keep saying, and marvellous your collaboration with Victoria Wood. And I go, yes, that's right. But in actual fact, she writes it and I do it. I mean, I interpret it a bit, you know, because as you do as an actor, but, you know, generally, that's her.
Well, it's such a wonderful collaboration. Perhaps the most famous, yes, most famous of all the sketches was, of course, Acorn Antiques,
Oh, yeah.
which we have a clip from now, I think.
Been a new development of Roberta's father's will. A new one has been found, dated the day he died.
Who's the sole beneficiary now?
That's the problem. It's a little redhead he met in the blackout in 1943. They had one night of passion and he never saw her again.
Or he thought he never saw her.
What do you mean, Mrs. O?
Oh, well, I'm grey now, Mr. Clifford. Very grey indeed. Right up until 1947, my hair was red. As red as a London bus.
Do you like watching clips like that? Does it bring back happy memories?
It does. I mean, that does. Acorn Antiques, we had such a... Because it wasn't done in front of a live audience, so you kind of could relax a bit with it. We had such fun with it. We really... Yeah, it was lovely memories, because we just laughed and laughed doing it.
And great physical comedy. Was that fun to do? The walk and the hunch and everything?
How dare you?
I do apologise.
Oh, so several people have said to me in the past, so, and that's padding, is it? No. You know, so...
It's method.
Exactly. You know, it's for real now, unfortunately. Now I'm her age, of course. What did you say?
Did you enjoy doing the physical comedy?
Oh, yeah. No, I loved all of it. I was obsessed with old women. I think because my grandmother lived with us for so long. She was a bit of a catastrophe in many ways. And so I was obsessed with it. And you know how old people sort of have the shape of them and how they, you know, their bodies changed and all of that. I loved it. Now, of course, I am that age. It's rather depressing.
Where does your love of comedy come from? Is it something that you've always loved doing?
I don't know. Where it comes from, I don't, but my parents were both sort of jolly and liked to joke, you know, and liked to laugh. And I have memories of my father making my mother laugh and her, you know, almost her face exploding with redness and her veins sticking out, laughing and choking with laughter. And so they had a funny view on life, you know. So I guess it was then. And then at school, it became a way of surviving somehow. And I realised that, I mean, the very first thing that I guess was when I was at this awful school I went to, where the nuns used to beat hell out of us. Anyway, one day, we used to, this one nun, who was absolutely terrifying, used to get us every Friday afternoon to do these mimes. And so I got up and did a mime, and she went, "You should go on the stage." So she was the first person, and she laughed. And she was really, we were all frightened of her. Just to see her laugh, just, I don't know, something switched on. And I thought, God, that was a really special day. The whole, I can remember the room. I can remember what the room looked like. The sun was shining. Everything looked, that was a really, that sounds really wanky. I'm sorry. But it was like that. It was like, I don't know, what's the word I'm thinking of? Oh, I can't think of it.
Eureka?
That'll do. How dare you? No, yeah, yes, it was Eureka, if you like.
We've seen Petula, wonderful character from Dinner Ladies. Was she based on anyone?
No. No, like every dotty person I've ever met, really. No, and it's such a wonderful mix of things she was. You never knew whether she was quite telling the truth. Had she slept with Frank Sinatra? Well, you know, she could have cleaned his dressing room when he was on in Manchester. We don't know. But, you know, it was all that sort of thing. I don't know where she came to out of Vic's imagination, and then I added my own bit.
We're now going to look at some of your most powerful performances from the world of drama.
Oh, goodness. Who told you to say that?
With Boys from the Black Stuff.
You don't know your arse from a hole in the ground. You think that life is like the inside of a Wendy house, and I'm only there to look after the dolls.
Oh, yeah. You as well, eh? Yeah, well, go on then. Why not, eh? One free shot.
Yeah. Why not? One free shot. And me as well. Me as well. Why? God's sake, for once in your life, why don't you stand up for yourself? Will you fight back? Fight back.
Wreck.
Yeah,
No.
wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, poor old Michael.
I think that was made in 1982, was it?
81, I think.
81. Still so potent, that scene. What is it about that particular piece that still resonates with people?
Fighting back, isn't
Yeah.
it? I guess, like she says. And yeah, and people losing hope. And I mean, it still resonates because people are still in difficult positions. Things haven't changed in some ways.
Yeah.
People are still on the breadline and suffering. And it's yeah, that's why.
A lot of those the parts you played at that time were strong women. Did that appeal to you to project that through your roles?
Yeah, they're the most exciting ones, yes. I come from a line of strong women, I suppose. My mother was strong and my grandmother. And so yes, they appeal to me.
Does it help if you feel a personal connection with a part? Does it make you more eager to play it?
I think you've always got to have some kind, no matter who you're playing or how awful they might be or be perceived to be, then you still have to have a connection. It's got to come from inside you somewhere.
And if you didn't feel you had that, would you not take the part?
Well, occasionally things come up and I think, this is really well written, but I'm not sure how I would get into this. I'm not sure who she is, and that's quite frightening to me.
But
I like to feel an instant. I sometimes have, yeah. And then I'm very scared I'm not going to get it. Yeah. But because I like to feel an instant connection from here with it, you know.
And did you feel that with the role of
Yes,
Voice
I
of the
could
Black
see
Stuff?
her. Yeah. It was wonderfully written as well. It just comes up off the page, you know.
Yes.
So.
And it was very controversial at the time. I think there were questions in the House about it and people accused it of being propaganda, but it was a reflection of a life that many people were sadly leading at that time.
Yes, and it's what Alan Bleasdale, who wrote it, saw around him in Liverpool. So it was very truthful from that point of view.
We also saw a bit of you as Mary Whitehouse.
Oh, yes.
What made you want to play that part?
Oh, well, Mary Whitehouse was kind of, she was at her height, if you like, in about, I suppose, 72, 3, something like that. Well, and I was of the 60s generation. Then I was sort of 21, 22, 23, around the time she was at her height. Of course, we all hated her because we were part of the revolution. You know, we were, you know, women's lib had started, the pill, you know, free love. It was all that sort of thing was going. We were hippies and students and all of that, and there was Mary Whitehouse saying, no, it's not right. This is, you know, and so you hated her. She was my mother's generation. We were sort of rebelling against all of that. So, of course, 40 years later, or 30 years later, coming to play her, I was absolutely fascinated. And it was, again, a really good little script, and it made me really like her. I liked her and I respected her, and I thought, yes, you had a point. We do need and we did. She was right. We did need a watershed.
She started the watershed.
Yeah.
Was it hard, having said that as a younger woman that you hated her, to make that volte-face, if you like, to warm to her?
I was pleased to. I don't like hating anybody, really.
Yeah.
And I was pleased. I thought you had pleased to understand her.
Yes.
Because I didn't bother with understanding her when I was 19, 20. You know, when I had no.
Too busy leading the revolution, weren't you?
Yes, exactly. In Manchester. Anyway, so so it was great to do it. And Hugh Bonneville felt my bosom. I mean, I had that as well. We snogged. Did I tell you? We did. Anyway, yes, any decent man would have put a ring on my finger, I said that. Oh, no, went on and on. Went on and on, that snogging. Anyway.
Another very famous real-life character that you played was Mo Mowlam, and we're going to see a clip from that marvellous performance now.
All right, thank you.
The point Adam's making is that we have to look forward, not back.
Now who's doing the lecturing?
No, I'm not here to lecture you.
And that'll be a first coming from a British Secretary of State.
Oh. So with that, I expect. Oh, the fucking thing. Sometimes, aren't there just times when all you want is a bloody good scratch?
Wonderful. No. I remember talking to you at the time, and you said at first you were very hesitant about taking on that role.
Yes, yeah. Well, first of all, I read the script and thought, this is fantastic. It was I couldn't believe what I was reading. I knew I didn't know Mo Mowlam personally. I was one of the few celebrities who hadn't met her. Celebrity, I'm not a celebrity, but you know what I mean. Anyway, and so I was shocked by the script, apart from anything else. I didn't know the half of it, basically. And I thought, oh, I've got to do this. This is amazing. So I rang the agent and said, I'd really like to do it. And then they sent me some footage of her, and I thought, I don't look like her. And I thought, I don't look anything like her. And I thought, it's just going to be, people aren't going to see through the disguise. And so I rang the agent. I said, I don't think this is a good idea, Paul. I really don't think it's a good idea. And he said, with respect, bollocks. He said, but I got over it. And I said to Chrissy, who made makeup tonight, you know, how are we going to do it? We did a sitting to put a bald cap on, because her hair went quite quickly, and it was over that period of time, so we had to have different wigs. So we sat for hours having this bald cap made. God, and then 2 minutes later it was curling up, or something was wrong with it. So in the end I said, what if I shave my head? She was just waiting for me to say that, of course. Because I'd be in the chair at 4 o'clock in the morning to have that put on, you know. So I shaved it, and that was a revelation.
Was it quite emotional doing that?
It was a weird experience. I really feel for people who lose their hair in that way. I mean, I just shaved off, and I knew it was going to grow back, and quite hirsute as it happened. I won't go into that now. Anyway, so I knew it would grow back, but it was weird. I did feel sad. Felt terribly sad. It's different for women than it is for men, and I looked like all my mother's male relatives, only not as attractive. It's awful. And then you discover all these little dents and things. Like, my brother must have done that when I was little, you know. Little scars and things. And I didn't want my husband to see me.
How did he react?
He said, it's just like I thought you'd look. I said, what do you mean? He said, like Harry Hill.
A lot of your performances have involved song and dance, and we have a montage of your great song and dance routines here.
Miss Julie!
Oh my God, what's that?
When the pretty birds have flown, honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. Gonna do my very best, and it ain't no lie. If you put me to the test, if you let me try, take a chance on me.
Some tea on a tray and some biscuits coming your way. Bitter Bakewell tart lightens up your heart. Carbs will brighten your day.
We love to boogie
many, many wonderful routines there.
Thank you.
The
James.
The Billy Elliot, that must have taken so much work to do
Oh,
that.
God, it was awful. Yes. Months of rehearsal. And then I get there on the day. It took me ages till I nearly built up. There was a hole in the kitchen floor nearly from doing it. Then I got onto the day when we were filming, and Jamie was Bell, who played Billy, obviously, was doing these steps in the corner. I said, "Oh, that's good, Jamie. What's that?" He said, "That's what we're about to do." I didn't even recognise. It was nothing like what I was doing. It was awful, and I couldn't get the steps right. It's the menopause again. I don't want to go on, but it was. It was I went up to the end of the room, and I've never done this ever on a set before or since, and cried. It was the menopause. Anyway, so then I had to come back, didn't I, and face everybody. It was just terrible. Anyway, we got it right in the end. But
it's a wonderful scene.
Yes, okay. All right. If you say so.
And we saw a bit of Mamma Mia, another huge global success.
The very first day was quite nerve-wracking. Well, I learned, first of all, before we went into the first thing we did was record the songs. So I went with the MD, and I did the harmonies on them. So I had to go and learn those, and then we going into the studio. So then I met Meryl Streep, who's like an icon to me, even though she's only a year older than I. It feels like I grew up watching her, you know. And there are the ABBA boys, and within like 5 minutes, we're round the bloody piano singing it. But it was fine. I mean, they're really nice. They're lovely.
And you had a good relationship with Meryl as well.
Oh yeah, no, they were great. Yes, no, she's amazing. Yeah. She's a force of nature. Yeah. And she's not starry. She's a proper actor. Yeah. You know, and very involved and very, yeah.
Is that something really crucial for you, that the relationships that spring out of work?
Yeah, because it's collaborative. Whatever way you look at it, you're collaborating with the writer and the producer and the other actors and everyone, the cameraman, the lighting. Yeah, and so getting on the set, and I like a laugh, but sometimes it's not appropriate. But you know, it's very, very important to connect with everybody, I feel.
And does that stem back almost to the theatre when you started out? That wonderful ensemble picture. With Willie Russell was in it.
Yes, because on stage, you see, you're surviving together on stage, so you really do have to be a team. Yeah. In order for it to work properly, I think. Because I like people, generally speaking, and I want to communicate with them and be with them and understand them and for them to understand me. And I think work is much better if you do, if people get on and feel safe with one another. Yes. It's that, really. I wouldn't choose to do stuff on my own. I love the team thing. Yes. I love being part of a team. I love having people around. I really enjoy. I love film sets and television sets. You know, for that reason, everybody doing different jobs and all the actors, and it's lovely.
We've been reading a lot in the papers recently about how hard it is to become an actor. Do you feel that it's tough for young actors starting out today?
Oh yeah, much tougher. There's no reps for a start. That's all gone, really, and that's where most of my generation of actors started. And it's a great place to start. You're away from the central, you're away from London, and away from everything, and so it's brilliant from that point of view, because there are no grants either. So it's very hard for people to go to drama school unless their parents can afford it. So I think that's really sad.
It is excluding a whole level of society.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And the arts need to be represented by everyone.
And does it alarm you sometimes to see the way in which fame has become so all-important? Some people, there are all the talent shows on telly, and people are desperate to be famous.
Yes, it's kind of misinterpreted, isn't it, fame, as if it's something wonderful. Michael Caine once said it, didn't it? What's it like to be rich and famous? He said, well, I'd much rather just be rich.
You've had such a wonderful, varied career. Do you still have unfulfilled ambitions?
When I reached 60, and I shaved my head, hadn't I, for most, so then it grew through. I thought it was white. That was a big shock. I didn't know I dyed it for so many years. I had no idea what colour my hair was. There it was, this white hair, and I felt quite sort of aged. And I thought, well, I could just retire now. This is when people retire. And I didn't do anything for a year, and I thought, yeah, do you know what? I think I could actually retire. Then a script came from the National. Oh my God, man, you should see this script. So that was it, I thought, oh no, I'm obviously not quite ready for it yet.
So no thoughts of retiring now? Then?
No, I don't think actors ever do, really. I imagine that probably my health or something in later years might prevent me. But if it doesn't, then I'd go on doing a bit if I could.
And also, it doesn't seem, some people sometimes say there's ageism towards actresses when they reach a certain age, but that never seems to have affected you.
I'm part of the baby boomers, and there are more of us. There are more parts for older women, definitely, than there ever were. And there are more women in television, there are more women writers, there are more women producers, you know, in high positions. And so, you know, it is changing. Slowly, but those social change does take time, doesn't it?
Julie and I obviously have to go clubbing now,
Yes.
so we're going to have to, to wrap it up.
You
But
people, 9:30.
I'd like to say thank you for everyone for coming, and to the event sponsors, Rathbones, but most of all, a massive thank you to Julie Walters. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Do I have to go now? Yeah. Oh, I've got to go now.
Thank you, Superman. Thank you. And, I don't know what else to say. I didn't expect this. This is absolutely extraordinary. I haven't got a speech prepared.
Was there one film or one actor or something that you thought, oh, that's the kind of thing, I want to do that?
It was Albert Finney. I loved Albert Finney. Yeah. You know, it was Michael Caine's as well. I mean, all those kind of actors.
Yeah.
Richard Harris.
Yeah.
You know, they were kind of real. They were gritty, you know.